Lagar was up early that morning to journey to the Estate of Unrest. To get there though, he had to first get a translocator at the East Freeport docks. Since he was not welcome in the human city, he and his evil friends would need to enter the city through its sewers. After some time walking the scorching sun of the desert of Ru, Lagar met up with Montag and Mizu at the entrance of Freeport sewers. This entrance was shown to them by the Stinky Brothers, two ugly-looking trolls whom they met the day before. They said they knew what they were doing, as they had done so many times before, and that the sewers were safe for them, but asked Lagar to go in first anyways. Hopefully there was no sign of human guards, only some bugs and oozes. The sewers led them straight to the sea. It was good to feel the fresh ocean scent and leave behind the putrid odors of the sewers. Since trolls are not great swimmers, Lagar headed towards the docks bordering the water. They carefully passed by a guard tower and reached the point in which the only safe way forward was through the water. Lagar tried to find the translocator but found a fisherwoman instead. He got too close to her and Montag had to pull the aggro. The troll brothers were as smart as they were smelly. They showed the group a way of getting to the translocator without being seen by any guard. Lagar was the first to get to the Ocean of Tears. He quickly ran to the next translocator, but not quick enough to not attract the attention of some Sisters of Erelisi. The translocator was fast though, and they arrived safely in the Butcherblock mountains. Lagar had to bid farewell to the group as he wanted to explore the mountains alone for some time, while the rest of the group continued their journey. Later that night, he started his journey to the Greater Faydwer to get bound before heading to the Estate of Unrest. The Butcherblock mountains are home to the dwarves, sturdy little humanoids that know how to take a punch. They carved their city, Kaladin, on the rocks of these great mountains. Lagar had to be careful and stay out of the roads, as there were dwarf guards all over the place. So he followed the roads only long enough to find a guard tower and then had to cross it from a distance. There were many people crossing the mountains, but Lagar did not stop until he got to the Greater Faydwer. He arranged to have Mizu bind him to the area so that if he got killed in the State of Unrest, he would not need to take this journey once again. But they could not see each other, so Lagar had to pick another instance of the same zone. As he regained his conscience, he found himself right beneath the tree city of the Wood Elves, Calathin. He quickly ran to meet Mizu to get himself bound before any guard could see him. It's tough being hated everywhere. Finally bound to the area, Lagar went back to the Butcherblock mountains. His destination now was Dagnor's Cauldron, a rocky terrain taking its name from the lake it surrounds. There were orcs and goblins scattered throughout the rocks and water, so once again safety was a concern. At the southern end of the mountains lay the Estate of Unrest, the place where he was going. Always looking out for enemies any way he could, he found some goblin camps along the way, but then finally found the entrance to the manor. The Estate of Unrest is a cursed manor built by a noble and his family many centuries ago. Its unnatural cold and perpetual thunderstorm chills everyone's bones. Legend says a crazed dwarf named Garanel Ruxif murdered the family and all of its inhabitants after gaining access to the manor as a hungry traveler. After that, the estate was overrun by undead. Some say everyone who dies here will be transformed into an undead, unable to rest for eternity. That is where the name of this place comes from. Not wanting this fate for himself, Lagar set up camp with his group next to the abandoned gazebo in the yard of the manor. He fought tormented deads, death beetles, skeletons, and many more undead creatures at that spot. The group was strong enough to keep a steady pace of undead mobs getting their most deserved rest. The gazebo itself needed to be clear of those monsters as well. Lagar wanted to take a peek inside, and so he entered through the back door of the manor, only to find stronger enemies inside, a mummy and a girl. He ran back to the group so they could finish them off. The group moved to the back of the yard so they could have more mobs to pull from, including both sides of the yard in the rotation. Since the group was a little bit stronger for the yard, Lagar started getting many mobs together so that the mage and the wizard could rain some fire down them all at the same time. They killed so many beetles that the place they were standing in would soon become a beetle graveyard. At some point, Lagar looked at the corpses of all the bugs around him, and he could not believe there were so many beetles moving through the yard. Confidence grew within the group, and they decided to enter the manor. They wanted to see what it looked like from the inside. They entered through the main door and tried going upstairs to the fireplace, but another group was already there. One of them, an enchanter, managed to charm the ghost of Torkla Battlemaster, the fabled dwarf paladin that was head of security at the time of the murders of Unrest. So, the group went downstairs to camp the main room. There were plenty of stronger undeads around this room. Oh, what Lagar would do to see these halls in their glory days. He heard everyone was welcomed in the opulent balls thrown there, that there were orcs and goblins dancing and drinking alongside humans, dwarves and erudites. Wishful thinking aside, it was time to check the rooms that surround the main room. Aligned with the stairs, a room resembling a kitchen held an undead brewer inside. Lagar pulled him into the group. How many brews have been brewed by the brewer? There was not rest indeed in unrest. On to new rooms then. Instead of guests and welcoming people, all there was to be found were ghouls and skeletons of all varying types. Amorbius asked for the Throwstone book that Lagar had purchased the day before. The sneaky halfling was difficult to get a hold of, but eventually Lagar successfully delivered the tome. Now his friend could throw stones indefinitely without worrying about ammo. Lagar continued to explore the other rooms. Lagar pulled every room around the group constantly and made sure no undead was left unchecked. On one of the corridors, a strange mob appeared. It was all flying blades and shields. They quickly got rid of the abomination. Since the rooms were empty, Lagar went all the way to the back of the first floor to get more undead to fight. He was already level 17 by then and had acquired Feign Death, a signature monk skill. He could fall to the ground and pretend to be dead so that the mobs would switch targets away from him. He pulled 4 mobs at once and was confident he would deceive the undead when he fell to the ground. That seemed fake. He failed to feign death. He would need more practice to be convincing. At the end of the night, Lagar managed to find the ghost of Torkla Battlemaster and kill him to free him from his curse. At long last, the paladin could rest for the first time ever. Having conquered the yard and the first floor of the manor, their next logical path was to go upstairs to the fireplace, but the area was heavily camped, so they tried to go to another place the next day. Mistmoor Castle. Like and subscribe to keep following the journey of Lagar and his friends. Thank you for watching, and until next time.